Hi, I'm Rick Lambert. Welcome to the Smarketing Show. We got a special guest today, and you may say why. And I'm saying because this guy is a great business-to-business sales professional, and he's made the turn since this pandemic hit to sell digitally. And he's also a hockey goalie, so we love the guy just for that reason, if nothing else. Brad Benton, thanks for joining us today, buddy. After 20 years of sales, to talk about how you're changing not just your personal brand, but how you're changing how you do sales. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, thank you so much. How do I follow that intro? Wow, that was great, Rick.
Well, we try to do our best, but Brad, I wanted to bring you on the show because I think of all the people I see in the technology business to business space, you've done a phenomenal job branding yourself personally. And, we talk about this in the show all the time. And, you've been in technology sales for a while, you've run sales teams. And maybe if you could just talk a little bit about, the changes you've seen through the lens, in terms of B2B sales, how it's changed since COVID. And then we'll talk later in the show about like what you're doing personally.
Well, I say from every day, I see changes really from start to finish, both on how we operate as a company, how we operate as a salesperson, sales professional, excuse me, and then who we're talking with is different. The decision makers that we're visiting with, they may have more or less responsibility than what we were accustomed to before COVID. So I think the sales process is longer now. So how are you managing that on a day-to-day basis? That sales process, again, just like before, this is what's in common is you can't skip any of those steps in the sales process, or you're on looking for another prospect. I think we have to pay more attention to every step in the sales process. And Cheryl, like I was telling you before, I think the sales process is doubled in length. There's a large amount of sales professionals out there that want instant gratification. I hope that's fair to say it like that. You know what I'm talking about, Rick.
Absolutely.
And it's harder. We have to nurture the process the whole way from start to finish. We can't ignore any of those details. And that would be my best advice on that subject right there.
You mentioned just in our brief conversation before this, you can't, in your words, cut to the chase in this new online world. And I often talk about, digital sellings like visiting a virtual or digital chamber of commerce meeting. We wouldn't walk up to somebody and right away say, "Hey, I'm Brad Benton. I'm the number one goalie. And oh, by the way, I got the best product or service." So yeah, we're seeing like it used to be like one or two, maybe three decision makers. We're now seeing seven in a small, medium-sized business decision.
Yeah.
We're also seeing that where the senior dude used to make the call before, now he or she is busy, and so they delegate. So you got a new decision maker that you got to meet and court and all those good things. So the
Yeah.
complexity of the decision, I think, is changing. And Cheryl, your research has suggested, I think, as well that there's more automation now in terms of self-serve coming over from B2C. I think you were saying, Cheryl.
Yeah, so it's interesting, and I'm seeing a lot of content even posted on LinkedIn around the fact that they're saying that 2021 in the B2B space, because we already see this in B2C, but in B2B is being referred to as self-service era. So organizations are being forced to leap into this like digital selling environment in order to survive because of everything that's happening. So I guess, Brad, my question to you is, what are you seeing B2B organizations do in order to find ways to stay relevant to customers as that process continues? Because as we know, it can't happen overnight.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, businesses we're all trying to do more with less, right? And less could mean our staff is 50% capacity. We have new players on board. Businesses want automation. They want workflow. They want processes that are relevant with what we're going through right now. They want to make sure that the solution that we're driving and we're bringing to the table helps them automate all of that stuff. So maybe if this does go on for an extended period of time, they're going to be okay. We can help them get out of the woods. And that's what I think. I think businesses want to see workflow automation. And that's encompassed in so many different solutions in what we do. So,
And from the sales professional perspective, are you seeing, I like that you said that, sales professional, not salesperson. I'm going to start using that all the time now, but are you seeing those individuals, instead of counting things like, I got 5 sales today, or I've got 10 sales today, do you see them providing a bit more about like consultant perspective, where they're coming to the table and saying, okay, so now I'm nurturing this relationship. Yes, I've made the sale, but I'm now responsible for onboarding this whole automation experience, and then from there you're continuing with these touch points. Like, it doesn't end at the sale.
No, it does not. So what, Rick, you know this very well. Cheryl, you probably do too. But I think people want to know that you're there the whole step of the way. That's from when you first introduce your company, your products, your services, your unique solution. They want to see that you're going to see it through implementation, training, and it doesn't stop there. Because maybe that is a little bit of fear. It could be a little bit of fear there that again, this is going to go on for an extended period of time. So they want to be comfortable who they're working with, right? They want to know that solution is not something that you did before COVID. I think it just has to be relevant with what we're dealing with right now, because everyone's feeling it.
Brad, you make a great point. And a lot of times in our sales training programs, I'll ask clients in the B2B sector, show me your proposals. And I can tell you that, 70% of them have no implementation plan or post-sale kind of documentation, or at least a picture for the client. And especially in today's environment, they need to think about employee safety, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
We're talking about today, like the digitization of, let's say, what you and I, Brad, grew up doing in B2B sales. And, again, I'll say again, I think you've done a great job of building your personal brand. You're like early in the curve, your videos, you're a family guy. So you got the same pressures as most people. You got a sales role, leadership role. You got a great big truck I've seen on your videos. But what have you done, you think, that's worked for you in transitioning from that physical setting to a digital place? Like, what do you think you've done that's moved the needle for you?
I wasn't sure where to dive in on the deep end when I first started doing the videos, because I've been on LinkedIn since day one, but I used it just like everyone else did. We're hitting like on posts that people are sharing. It's not organic content that people are putting together. So how do you get that organic content? Where do you start? And that is a real change for some people out there, is where do I start? So, it can be bragging about a new client that you got, doing a full testimonial on this client. And, what are you doing there? You're further nurturing that relationship that you have with that client. You're also plugging their business. Whoever said no to that? So I think as far as branding and content, you can dissect what you do as far as when you're building a solution, all the components that go into that solution, you can put that out there. So if it's technology, you can talk about workflow, you can talk about cloud solutions, and connecting those pain points there, because everyone's got the pain points right now. So as far as what you're putting out there, it doesn't have to be professional either. I would say, if I got to put a number on it, 80% of it probably should be professional posts and content that you're putting out there, but people want to know who you are. So if maybe I'm going to talk about, I did a post, I was with my kids at Dave & Buster's, and I had actually met one of the C-level people from that post that worked at Dave & Buster's. So she was a chief marketing officer for the company. And I met her a while back, and that was from doing a personal post on LinkedIn. So again, just put yourself out there.
So, when I talk to sales leaders who are now, some of them are all over the curve of, they're holding on to the way it used to be, up to, hey, we got to digitize everything, our sales offense. I say to people, look, you got to start looking at your salespeople. This is Rick Lambert's opinion, as a sales and digital marketing representative for the business, not just the traditional sales. And so where Cheryl helps companies, the corporate, messaging, I think that too few people do what you do, and that's, personalize the corporate value proposition, if I can call it, into a individual level to then scale for the company and the person. But so I know you've been big on LinkedIn and active, and I think you do a great job, staying out of the typical penalty box. If I can use a hockey term of some, comments that are off the grid. We won't even get into that. But is there a strategy that you have around, creating your videos or posting content, or the way you kind of, like people's posts or whatever? Is there something that, because I think you do a good job.
Well, thank you very much, Rick. That means a lot, because the evolution of my videos has come quite a ways. We're all learning, right? I don't think anyone's got it figured out 100% right now. But again, it's just getting out there. Strategy is, I want to shake it up a little bit. I want my videos to be in a different place every now and then. I could be in my Jeep. I call her Lola. I could be in my Jeep. I could be in front of the scenery. It needs to be right for me. It doesn't have to be for everyone, but I try to shake it up. Different place, different time of the day. I've learned the highest traffic days on LinkedIn. So, Tuesdays and Thursdays are always a good day to post. I think that's worked for me, because I've seen a difference in a video that I did getting 200 views and on a Monday, and then a video getting 5,000 views on a Tuesday. Again, those stats kind of surprised me a little bit at first, but that I guess people are busy working on Mondays. Who would have thought?
Well, I'm going to get our video guy here, Vinny, if you can just show right now our viewers the activity peaks on LinkedIn. You can see Brad's right on here from what we see as well. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, tremendous activity. Brad, do you have advice for, let's say I'm a 25-year-old male, female sales professional. I'm trying to navigate through this digital world. Like, if there were 2 or 3 things you think they need to do, given, how things have changed, what would they be through your eyes?
First off, for what works for me is finding what motivates you. If it's something personally that motivates you into the professional space, again, that works for me. I take my being an athlete from 10 years old. It goes back further than that, but I take all of that into the workplace with me. I try to stay fired up. I try to stay upbeat, keep my energy level high, passionate about what I do. That's super, super important to me. And if you have all those things, I think everything else falls in line. Where's your heart at during all of this? Because your prospects and clients are going to see that. But as far as a regimen, a daily regimen and discipline of getting videos out consistently. And when I say consistently, you don't have to do it every day. I think you all can correct me if I'm wrong. You all do this all day and night, but I believe 3 videos a week is what is needed for any given person. And you can dissect that down to one of those is a more personal type of branded video, and then the other 2 are more professional. It could be on your products, it could be trends in the industry, or it could be again thanking a client that you just won, or plugging that client. So that's my advice, Rick.
Yeah, those are really great. And Brad, you're doing a fantastic job on LinkedIn. I just want to say I enjoy your videos, your branding, your strategy. It all makes sense. I have one last question before we wrap things up, and we appreciate your time and your insight today. My question is, obviously, before everything that happened with the pandemic, you relied so heavily on those interactions with your customers in person. So now we're forced to move that into the virtual world. So that could be through email, that could be through LinkedIn messages, that could be through text messages, picking up the phone and calling. What is the right balance of getting the right message to the right person at the right time, and not becoming somewhat intrusive in their life? Like, are there signals that a sales professional would be able to recognize from their prospects or their customers and know that they're delivering the right content at the right time to the right person?
Cheryl, that's a great question. I think the signals are different than they used to be. They're on the other end of the spectrum, different. I Rick, you talked about it too. You can't cut to the chase anymore. It may have worked, and the term that I think we used was one call, one close. I don't think, I think that's all but disappeared. It's gone. I think we have to nurture each and every sales process, and don't even think about skipping a step in that longer sales cycle that we're being we're faced with right now. So I think, again, if let's call it 14 steps and the 14 touches in the sales process, every one of them has got details that we can't ignore right now. Again, I think businesses want to see that we're there the whole step of the way. They want to see that we're stable. Our solution's going to fit, and that we see it all the way through implementation, training, and even past that. What is our touches look like after our solution is implemented? Does it look like quarterly business reviews? Some companies call it periodic business reviews. Excuse me, but it has to be there. It has to be there. There is still a level of fear that is out there for everyone. And I did bring this up earlier. So what does fear mean for you guys? So there's two definitions, and one could be for the client, and one could be for us. I say fear is forget everything and run. Okay, that could be what our clients are thinking, but I say it's face everything and rise. So again, it's kind of what do you stand for? What do you live by? What how do you get there? And that's why I bring that up, guys.
Fight or flight. Fight or flight.
Yeah, I think the pivot, we keep hearing that, and it's a real thing. You have to. There's changes that have to be made, and but at the end of the day, people buy from people, and I think the solution is really secondary. People buy from people.
Yeah.
Remember that the whole step of the way.
Well, I couldn't agree more. And, as we wrap up, there's a few things I'm taking away from our conversation. Brad talked about, desire. Often, when you look at the qualities you want in a business to business person, digital or whatever you want to call it, I would say I would put desire over anything else, because that's what drives you as a goalie, you as a sales professional, right? The second thing is, you were early and you floundered around like we all did on LinkedIn as an example with videos. You talked about the dynamics of the sales cycle, and as much as it may be daunting to a viewer right now, hey, more, more touches, etc. I think what you've done a great job of, and you're very humble about it, by the way, is you scaled yourself so you could get into more opportunities using digital technology to identify. Cheryl asked about signals. Well, sometimes we don't know the signal, but at least if our line's in the water digitally, we got more fish that might hit us. But, in short, I just want to say thanks. I think you've really done a good job pivoting. You're very humble about what you do. I know you got a ton of experience. You've led people. And I think if our viewers right now aren't following you on LinkedIn, I think that'd be a good spot to start. Brad Benton. So, buddy, thanks so much for joining us today. Our first goalie on the show, by the way.
Yeah. First goalie.
I love first. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank
Awesome.
you so much, guys.
Thank you so much, Brad, and thank you so much to everybody for tuning in. Don't forget to like and follow the show and subscribe to our channel, and you can email us if you have any questions or show ideas, or if you want to be a guest, engage@intocommunications.com. We'll see you next week.
And Cheryl, this is the first show I'm wearing my glasses, so if anybody's wondering, hey, did Rick get a snorkel with those glasses? The answer is no. Okay, anyway, we'll see you guys next week.
Thanks, guys.